Scandal in the animation world. Reportedly, some streaming companies are outsourcing their animation to North Korea. That's a big no-no. We're going to talk about it. Then we'll get to our main case for today. Playing your music in the workplace. How loud is too loud and what kind of music is acceptable? It's a big topic. We'll give you our verdicts. Stay tuned. What you are listening to is real. The parties involved are not cool. They are actual geeks with a case pending in the court of public opinion. The party's case has been dismissed, and the dispute will be settled here on our podcast. There will be no lawyers. There will be no witness testimony. The judge's decisions are final.
Hello, I'm Judge Ivan.
I'm Judge Jonathan, and this is Geeks on Trial. Today's case, change your tune.
Welcome to Geeks on Trial. This is the podcast where we settle petty disputes between actual geeks over movies, video games, board games, and more. If you'd like to submit your own geeky case for a future episode, you can email us at geeksontrial@gmail.com. You can also support the show over at patreon.com/geeksontrial for just $5 a month, where you can get early access to both our audio and video episodes, plus our brand new bonus show, Geeks on Trial Sidebar. And boy,
Oh yeah, last week we put up a new one.
Yep. And it was quite a doozy. We talked about...
Do you know which one? Because you sent me a few, and I put up... I don't know if you know which one I put up.
I'm
I
assuming
didn't know
you
the order.
put them in order of how I said. I don't remember.
I put up what our dream jobs would be.
Okay,
is that the one you wanted me to put
That's the one
up?
in order. Yep.
Great.
So
Yeah.
what our dream jobs would be.
We talk about our dream jobs, which is... Maybe it's podcasting. I'm not going to say.
Could
Go
be.
watch it.
Could be,
We're living our dreams right now.
animating in a different country. Could be that.
Yeah, I also want to tease people a little bit because the summer
always
movie
do.
wager is coming up, and if you watched our show last year, this is a yearly game we play where we try to predict the top 10 movies of the summer, and we're going to do a whole full-on hour-long, maybe longer, I don't know how long it's going to be, discussion of that will be on our Patreon with guest Will from Roll for Crit. So that should be a lot of fun. So that's something else to look forward to. It's not up yet, but we'll let you know.
But it
when
is
goes up.
the only place to get it is behind patreon.com/geeksontrial.
What a good place to go. It's really a shame,
It is.
Ivan, that you were stripped of your illegal license, but I heard you're trying to get it back.
It's true. Somebody walked in and decloaked me, derobed me, took my robe away, and now I
Yeah.
can't practice law. I did manage to nab my gavel. Now, this means nothing without the cape, the cloak, the robe.
Yeah. Well, usually the way it happens is, the chief calls you into his office and he's like, "Damn it, Han, you've gone too far this time. It's time. It's over. Hand in your robe and your gavel."
And I ask him, "Sir, who are you? This is we own our own company. I don't know who you are. What's
It's the
going on
chief.
here?" The chief.
You don't talk to the chief?
No. I don't know why I went Christopher Walken on my no.
He's over in North Korea. Which brings me to today's subject before we get to the case. Here's a little bit of weird news in the geek entertainment industry. Some people were looking into some cloud servers that were stored over in North Korea, and it turns out they found some curious links to American companies, including some animation directly linked to two streaming providers, HBO Max, now known as Max, and Amazon Prime Video, now known as Amazon Prime Video.
Which that
the
rolls
shows-
right off the tongue, by the way. Why not
it's-
drop Amazon? Just call it Prime Video.
Because then you'll forget that it's Amazon. The shows in question, supposedly, that they found assets for on this server, two animated shows. One was the upcoming Season 3. Season 2 just ended, so I guess this is far in advance. But supposedly assets for Season 3 of Invincible on Amazon, as well as an upcoming anime that's going to be on Max called Ianu Child of Wonder. That one I don't know about because it's a new one. I don't know. Oh, sorry. I don't know if it's an anime. Something else was an anime. It's an animated
they
show.
are.
I know that.
Everything's anime if they're animated, right? I mean, anime is a style from anime
Sure.
stuff.
However
So,
you want to say it.
I looked at a few different news sources for this story. I checked out the CNN and I checked out
Look at this guy over here doing the research.
whatever you sent me. News.
Reuters?
I got a set of Reuters.
Engadget.
Anyway, Engadget was the one we were both looking at.
It was originally reported on by 38 North, who's like a North Korea news site.
But the thing that is weird to me is, okay, fine, we have illegal things that we're not supposed to be doing, monetary business or any kind of business.
Well, we should establish for people exactly what the fact that is why this is a big deal is that the United States basically has a sanction against working with North Korea because of, I don't know if people have heard there's some shit that goes on over there that's not that great.
Well, no, but if you're there, it's all great. It's amazing.
It depends on who you're talking to, and it depends on, if they're like you, they looked at CNN, they looked at Engadget, and they got a full picture.
Right.
But sometimes people just look at the one source.
Right.
So anyway, yes, it's a frowned upon. The United States says, no, do not do it. And these companies claim that they didn't know this was happening.
So I have two things to go on with this. First off, why was America just looking at this cloud server?
Again, it was a news. I believe it's 38 North is this news organization that is just their job is to report on North Korea news, and they found this. They were examining these things. I don't know. Presumably, this is what they do for matters of security.
That seems weird. That it seems a little bit more shady than us dealing with some animation company dealing with them. That's we're just poking through your cloud server, and we see that you have some of our shows.
Here's the actual, the cloud storage server was discovered, it appeared to no longer be in use, was incorrectly configured, making it viewable by anyone without a password. And apparently this just word got out and it leaked. And so that's how people discovered this. So it's not like they were hacking into North Korean servers.
When a cloud server leaks, do we call that rain? I would.
Yeah.
I would call it rain.
I guess we do.
That'd be funny,
that's
right?
That's pretty. It's pretty good.
Because you see where the clouds from the sky produce rain in real life, and in the IT world, when something leaks, it should be called rain. So
no, it is good.
Did you know before reading these stories that we had, sanctions to not work with that country?
I didn't know that there was any specific legal sanction in place, but I guess I just assumed but I also just didn't want to.
Well, that's what I thought. I thought it was okay, maybe we shouldn't because they have bad,
practices?
Vibes. Yeah, we'll go with that.
The vibes in North Korea
are not so great.
They are not bussin', my friend. They are high-key skull emoji over there.
So many L's, no W's.
Oh, it's ratio. You don't even understand the ratio in North Korea, my dude.
Mid, my guy.
So they're washed.
So I know what some of those mean. So so I didn't know it was you legally can't do work there, which is always kind of weird to me when our country, America, who is always boasting on freedom, you can do whatever you want, but you can't do that. Don't try to get animators from the country.
What that Meatloaf song's about.
Which one?
Bat Out of Hell.
Okay. So, we are copying the animation style from potentially these countries, if it is an animation thing or whatever. And it would be nice to have somebody work on it from there potentially. But I didn't realize it was such you were banned, not you. Well, you could have been banned from working with a specific country. And it just kind of seems kind of shitty in a way.
Well, I mean, I
get it.
I get it. I don't think it's shitty. I think the shitty part is the hypocrisy of the fact that America still works with many other countries that do objectively terrible things.
Right.
And in fact, so does America does many terrible things.
Right. And other countries work with us. So it's
Right. So from that perspective, I think it's more. It's almost. Maybe the argument isn't that we should be allowed to work with North Korea, but there should be more countries we aren't allowed to work with.
Right, including us.
Maybe we should probably be on that list for other countries as well. I'm just very curious about how this all took place. Skybound, the company that owns Invincible, they put out a statement saying, we had no involvement in this. We never put this out there. Apparently there was also a Chinese It sounds like there was maybe like in China they had some kind of a front company that was masking this, but it's right now I cannot say. I don't think we have a clear answer on whether these companies did this deceptively, like they're trying to hide this, or was it really an accident, or these assets are just there and who knows where they came from?
It just seems weird to me. You brought it up. It's like we didn't know what was going on, air quotes. And it's like, how do you, you're a big company, fine. You're selling to HBO Max and Amazon Prime and whatever. But like, how do you not know where your animation is coming? Like this is the key component of your show that it's getting animated. How did you not know that's who's doing
it? That's the question. I don't know what extent, because it sounds like what they found. I don't think what they found is like, oh, we found a full ass episode that's coming up. Mm-hmm. I saw the word sketch or things like
it might have been a storyboard or like something small.
And like I said, from the only confirmed thing, at least for Invincible, was season 3. So I don't think like the whole show has secretly been a North Korean operation. So I just don't know. Was this something they were exploring going forward, or there's
like,
just a lot of
like a test thing? Like, hey, try to sketch some of these. But the other thing is like we have had a big union strike here in the U.S. for directors, actors, writers, and you would think like that. the animators, the animation union would be like strict.
Well, that's a whole other
on who does what.
Yeah.
Because, we have unions in the U.S. We have, different things, different dealings in our animation and in entertainment in general. Like, a lot of times you need to get names on paper. Like, Walt Disney back in the day got in a lot of trouble because it would just say animated by Disney animators. Like, that would be it. So it's like, we kind of like animation and movies in general, TVs. Like, we keep track of a lot of things. And it's just kind of weird that, like, this small, unless it was like an intern or something that was like, oh, let me send it over here to see if they'll do it, or if it's a test drive to see, like, hey, can they do it quick? Can they,
It probably, I feel like one of the more likely explanations is that not that this came from the top, although maybe it did, but maybe it was not an intern, but some department somewhere realized, hey, we could do a little less work and make a little more money if we squeeze into this territory instead of this one, or they do this instead of me. But that's the thing. It's like, Amazon and Max pass the buck down to the studios, and they're like, we don't know about this. It's whoever runs the show. And then the showrunners are like, yeah, we don't know about this. It's the animation. They're like, yeah, we don't know. So, someone is going to take responsibility, or none of them will, but I don't know who actually bears the blame for it. It's weird.
We do have, with classic animation back when it was done in cells and stuff, a lot of shows back in the 90s and 80s.
Guess what? If things keep going the way they're going, they're going to be doing the animation from cells once again. Behind bars, I'm talking about.
Oh, jail. So we used to do a lot of like animation overseas, like the big, like the Simpsons. Me, yeah. The Simpsons used to do a lot of their animation.
They still do. I'm pretty sure they're all still, unless they made a switch over, maybe because of digital. Maybe
the computer animation is easier to do here potentially, but like
most of Korea was always South Korea,
right? Yeah. Because they were able to do it quick and cheap for various reasons, good or bad. But so it's not weird. So maybe that's the reason why it was like, oh, kind of brushed under the table, because they're like, oh, they just saw Korea. They didn't see, and they're like, wait a minute, which letter is in front of that Korea? Hold on.
So it's just a little higher up.
It just seems weird that, like, that nobody noticed this and this was a mistake, or it was, oh no, we knew exactly what we were doing and we're just trying to get away from it and find out who to blame on the totem pole.
Yeah, obviously no one's going to say that.
No.
But yeah, right now I feel like, I don't know how readily available the contents of this server are to actually look at right now. So I'm sure more informed people than us who've poured through it maybe can have a better understanding of it. But I don't know. Right now it sounds to me like there's not enough info to call it one way or the other. And I'm really curious how this will develop, if more will come to light and we're going to find out, are there more shows than just these two?
Well, that's what I'm thinking too, because now there's like, oh, we know this they have to be an animation studio of some kind, this company over there. So it's like, how many shows are they doing worldwide, and how many of those shows are Amazon and other streamers buying? Because, like, we do buy or license international shows. So what's the difference between us buying an international show that is animated by this company and us being a company based in the U.S. asking this specific company to make the show? So it's a weird, tricky subject of, like, how we go around spending or not spending and being cheap in a way of TV and stuff like that.
The difference is that it's North Korea. That's the difference. Is that
well, no, yeah, but I understand that. But, like, if we buy it from, like, if a show in England's is using them as an animator and we buy that show from England's, it's fine because we technically didn't know who was doing the animation. So that's what, like, it's weird. Maybe. That it's like, we got caught because,
but
like,
is that
a direct
a
line.
Real situation?
I'm sure there's because the U.S. buys tons of. I don't have an exact example.
Yeah,
but I'm saying, like, we buy
anime
from people, so, like, it's going to happen.
Yeah, but usually we know what. Usually those animation studios are in Japan. I feel like it's maybe I'm wrong. I feel like it was usually more an American practice to outsource to, because they're the ones doing the cheap labor that we want. Right. Like, the other countries are not in a position to
be cheap and not give credit.
I'm sure that Amazon and Max, I'm sure whether or not they were fully conscious of this, I'm sure they didn't care.
And I'm sure they probably weren't even, like, they outsource this stuff to another like, it's not like they're making this show. It's most streaming services don't make their own stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and even when they own the rights to it, it's another, they're like, there's not an Amazon animation studio.
Like, I'm sure Jeff Bezos doesn't know what is on his streaming platform from
I think he's in there every Monday at the weekly meeting going, all right, so next season of The Boys and the next season of another Amazon show that we're going to do it. Also, more ads. Is that still on, the Grand Tour?
I think it's just ending, or they just finished. They're wrapping up.
All right.
Yeah.
The next season of Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. Or
there you go. Is
whatever,
that still on?
whatever that show. I don't know.
Yeah. So that's interesting to see where this animation is coming from and how, there are things hidden in the clouds.
I think it's boring, to be honest.
More so, just be careful of your cloud passwords. Don't.
Especially if you're in North Korea.
Sure.
Remember the interview? Remember that whole controversy?
Interview?
The one with Nixon
and
Frost Nixon.
Oh. No, yeah, I do remember, because they banned that movie in the country?
It was a whole thing. There was a whole
weird
hacking
thing. Yeah.
Like, people thought Sony or North Korea hacked Sony, or
it also this entire thing just shows how stupid people in power are with technology. It's like, it's in the cloud, so they must be trying to hack our system. No, bro, somebody probably pirated an episode and that was in the cloud. Like,
I want to know what's season 3 going to look like. We'll leak the important stuff, leakers. Oh wait, I could just go read the comic. It'll tell me everything.
And we call it rain now when it's leaked from the cloud.
Stay tuned for more rain. We call this the weekly weather report when we report on cloud leaks. It's a weather report.
It's probably a podcast.
It's this one right now. We have to get, though, to our main case for today. We don't have time to mess around with all this other bullshit.
No dillying or dallying.
Last week, Trump. This week, North Korea. What are we going to tackle next? Climate change.
We're almost like a real news company.
The homeless crisis. It could go anywhere. All right. Today's case comes to us from the internet. You can find a link in our episode description. Our defendant today is Ted. Ted is a veterinary assistant, and his co-worker Dustin likes to play music on his computer during the day. Out loud on his speakers where everybody in the office can hear it. Normally, it's simple lo-fi beats or video game music, something low-key, something chill. But on the day in question for this case, Dustin happens to be playing some particularly loud metal music. Ted has a bad migraine that day. And when Dustin doesn't take the hint that he should lower his music to help Ted out, Ted asks him directly to please play something a little less aggressive. Dustin does so, but he's in a bad mood for the rest of the day, and now Ted's wondering if he went about things the wrong way. As dual judges here on Geeks on Trial, it's now our job to determine whether Ted should have put his trust in Dustin's percussion or if his tunes were disgusting and needed adjusting.
That rhyme was bustin'.
You know, I don't think you're supposed to pronounce the T that
I
hard.
do, because I don't like the...
Unless you are Ray Parker Jr.
I am, and it makes me feel good.
Okay. It's bussin' for real. On God.
No, I pronounce all my letters.
Do you know IJBOL?
Who is that?
That's an abbreviation that Zoomers use.
For what?
I just burst out laughing.
I don't like it. It's stupid.
Yeah, I agree. It sucks.
JKLOL.
IJBOL. It doesn't roll off the tongue at all. I
do like the skull though. The skull for.
Skull can be funny. The skull is okay. You can keep the skull, Zoomers, but you're on notice about IJBOL.
Now, do they call them Zoomers because during COVID everyone was using Zoom?
No. They call them Zoomers because the date of birth for most people in that generation was right around the time those commercials started with that kid. Zoom.
Oh.
Zoom. Yeah, zoom. All right, let's get to the case here.
I think
Music
we're good.
in the workplace. I was told that I could play my music at a reasonable volume. It's a terrible
That was
impression.
awful. What language was that? I don't even know where you were going with that. I know what it's from, but I'm not gonna. That was the worst ever. It was kind of like an Andy Kaufman accent from Taxi. You're.
I was told that I could play. Thank you very much. No, hold on. Let me try
That's
again.
a different movie. Hold on, I would watch that. Okay.
Excuse. I was told that I could play my music at a reasonable volume.
That's a little bit better.
Droopy Dog. It's
Yeah.
Droopy Dog.
Yeah.
I was doing for the listeners and viewers Milton from Office Space.
Oh, I think the listeners got it.
Classic bit from the film Office Space about playing the music too loud. Mm-hmm. We gotta first set the ground rules on music in the office. I'm not a man who's ever worked in a cubicle.
Okay.
Let alone really with other human beings like around me. I don't know.
Well,
is this a scenario? Is there a similar workplace scenario? Maybe it doesn't have to be a workplace. Kind of a scenario where you've been in, where you've been around people and you have to question whether or not it's okay to play music.
Every day of my life. No, I haven't worked in a cubicle, but I have worked in an office space. Not that one. I never had a red stapler, but I used to work in a medical facility where I had a desk and there was people around me.
Wow.
and there was other doctors and nurses and clients in and out. And we were basically told, maybe don't play music. It's not the best to be playing music that other people might hear. We don't really like it. If there's nobody in the building, because there have been times where if there's no clients or whatever, it's really the clients that they're worried about because everyone else had an office. Then you can kind of play something. But there's two issues, and a lot of offices have had this issue that internet is often blocked or regulated in offices to where you can't play music. If you're working in like a big office space style building, they don't want you on YouTube. They don't want you, they want to control every aspect of your life, and playing music would be joyful for you, and why would they allow that? And the second thing is, a lot of times in these, places where there's a bunch of cubicles, there's like 100+ people within earshot. So if everyone was playing music, then it would be problematic. But I'm trying to think anywhere else, because like the other jobs that I've worked at were either retail where there's music playing, or I've worked in a place that produced or used music in my job.
Yeah, well, you're talking about, a couple of things there. Internet. What about if you bring your classic boombox?
And have like an FM, AM radio. I feel like that would be weird to bring in a... Because every job that I've worked at, or it's more so, what's more so common now is with the wireless earbuds that people have, the
AirPods?
AirPods and other knockoff brands or other things, that people are just like wearing those more and more in the office and whatnot. Because I've definitely walked around to like go to my local Walmart and the employees have one AirPod in, which I can't blame them.
God bless them. Yeah.
Like there'll be times I go shopping and I put them in because have you worked retail at all?
I've never really worked retail.
You worked food service, but like you worked in your own car for that.
Yeah, I've never done like a cash register. I'm a little pampered prince. I've never done.
But a lot of times, so like when I worked for Party
I've never
City,
really had to deal with like customers. You know what I mean? Really, not in like a store environment.
Okay.
Let's say, yeah.
Like because you delivered food, but like you're just dropping food off. Here you go, have a good day. Like it's not like you were like dealing with people coming up to you. So like when I worked for Party City, a lot of times in these or Kohl's or other stores that I've worked at, there's a CD or like a MP3 player in the back office that runs the same 30 songs. And they get annoying because it's seasonal and it's the same songs that you hear day in and day out.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, I've heard if you like go into Wawa or I'm sure there's other examples that are non-East Coast centric, but I think those people probably want to blow their brains out after a while because I'm in there and I'm like, watermelon sugar, oh, how fun.
Right.
And they're like, I have heard this 75 times today. I want to kill myself.
So, little fun thing. Danny used to work at Target during the time of Justin Bieber's Baby. And Danny worked in electronics where they have the giant TV on loop constantly. And he was like, if anybody ever plays a song around me, you will have no more legs. I will kill you. Could you imagine walking through Target? And Target's known for not playing music in their stores, except for in the
Is that true?
electronics
I never
area.
noticed that.
So like you're walking through Target and you just hear, or you're working at Target, baby, just constantly.
Yeah, no, that could be pretty rough. Any song, it's especially when it's in an environment you aren't crazy about, can drive you nuts. It's the same thing as like setting a song for your alarm.
Right.
And
With one song.
You start to associate it with bad times. That's no good. There's a reason that the music torture was pretty good at Guantanamo Bay.
Sure.
I shouldn't say that it was effective.
I have one song that always comes to mind that like I hate the song, and it's Thriller by Michael Jackson because I worked at Party City during Halloween seasons, and that was on loop every 10 minutes.
Oh, Halloween and Christmas, I'm sure, depending on the store you're in, can get very repetitive.
Yeah.
Now, okay, so what was your second thing after internet?
There's
just a lot of people, and that I definitely think it's more reasonable. I'm picturing, and I think that's the case in this case, is we're not talking about office space. We're not talking about your classic Dilbert hundreds of cubicles in a room.
Right.
It sounds like there's like 7 or 8, maybe a dozen employees, and maybe they're not all in at the same time, and it's kind of spread out. And it's like that's acceptable, but it is a tricky thing because music taste is very, very subjective. And what one person wants to listen to is often not what someone else wants. Even if they like it, sometimes you don't want to hear it right now. You want to hear it
or
later.
like there are some like you're big with making playlists. Like you are very in touch with your own musical things. You're a picky music person. And,
I'm not sure I'm going along with any of this, but continue.
And like there's some stuff that you just can't work to. Like it's like you have a gym like going to the gym track. You have
I do, yeah.
Vibing track. You have going on a hike track.
Yeah.
You have different things. Like some stuff that they were talking about that they played in the office just seems like it wouldn't work for me or work for most. So like the one thing, the lo-fi beats, I feel like that's a good general that's why it does so well on YouTube. You can just stream it, play it. It's a just there. It's undertone. It doesn't peak. There's no bass. It's just there. The video game tracks one, that seemed a little weird to me because like if you're not a video game person, and depending on what style of video game music it is, because my brain jumped to like 8-bit or like chirp music.
Are you a boomer?
Yeah.
Continue.
Because like it would be weird to me to have like video game music playing at a place if people don't video game.
Okay. I want to take one thing at a time. So when you work personally, like you're at home editing a video or something or whatever, do you put on music ever, or are you in no music while working?
So it depends on what I'm doing. So if I'm editing video or podcast, I can't have anything with words in the background or anything too distracting because you're trying to hear vocals and things in backgrounds and stuff like that. So like I'll have like, just either the lo-fi mix on, or I do a lot of, there's a station on Pandora that's Renaissance Fair music. And it's a lot of like that.
You're so weird.
Or I'll listen to like traditional Indian music, like stuff with like no lyrics in it and stuff with like
Gregorian chants.
Right, but no, that's lyrics, I think. That's technically.
Yeah. Well, what if it's not in English?
But I don't know. But I will, like, if I'm editing photos or editing a website or something where I don't need to be listening to I'll have a podcast on. Music to me is.
Music makes me lose my mind.
This music makes me lose control.
Lose control?
Yeah.
Does he not ever say my mind sometimes?
Well, who do you think sings that song? Because you said he.
I truly have no idea who sings that song.
It's Missy Elliott.
That part is a woman saying that?
It might just be Missy Elliott, deep voice. I don't know.
I just thought it was like it sounds like a robot or something.
Yeah.
Or like
but that's a Missy Elliott song.
Are you sure? Maybe there's is there like a remix of it?
I don't know.
Now I'm the boomer.
Music make you lose control. Music make me lose control. Let's go.
Yeah, I don't know this song. No, it definitely doesn't say my mind. This is the podcast now. I'm reading the lyrics.
Okay, Grandpa. So
music. This song's from 2005.
Yeah, it pops on my Lizzo station a lot.
How is this still, like, I hear it on TikTok and shit. It's still going, man.
Because people like us make TikToks now, and that's the issue.
Now, hold on. It says featuring singer Ciara and rapper Fat Man Scoop.
Oh.
So that might be Fat Man Scoop singing that part.
Who's picking these names?
My
name is Fat Man Scoop.
I'm sorry for the
tangent.
We? Please go back to you listen to music while you're working, podcasts, music.
So it's rare that so for me it's getting more and more rare that I'll actually listen to music unless I'm going out to like find a specific song because it's stuck in my head, or it's like I want to listen to an album, because when I drive now, it's podcasts. When I'm editing or doing work, it's like just background music. Or like a TV show that I've seen a million times. And going to sleep, I have on a TV show. So it's weird to me now to have music on, where, on the other hand, my partner can't be in silence. So he just has his music playing constant. Like when he's driving, it has to be music.
I'm sorry, are you suggesting that you can be in silence? Because I feel like that's not true for you.
More so than he can.
Oh, wow. That's rough.
It's true.
But just based mainly on, because I know, when you go to sleep, I know you always have something going on. Like you said, I will a lot of times, like obviously if you have to edit video or audio with voices,
right?
It can be that's overstimulating. My brain will blow up.
Because even with like the best headphones you have, you'll be like, "There's yeah."
Now that's not. I will make an exception. For example, we make TikToks and shorts for this show,
right?
And sometimes I'll just have some music on, and it doesn't matter what it is, because I'm like, I don't need to fully pay attention to. Like
the quality.
I had this conversation already, right. So I kind of already know what I'm looking for, and I can tell when something's coming up that maybe I want to clip.
And it's already from an upcoming, like it's already a finalized track,
right?
So
I'm not working from scratch. I'm just taking the video that you already made,
right?
So there's that. But otherwise, I will fairly often, depending on what I'm doing, I will go to film scores or video game scores. And that's what I feel like. I don't know. I feel like you shouldn't have this mindset, but it sounds like you're going to a very outdated idea of what a video game score is, because a lot of video game scores from the last 20 years could be indistinguishable from a film score.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, like this kind of stuff that I had, I don't know lately what I've listened to, but like I would have like the BioShock or like the Batman Arkham games. I mean, this is a little more like some chiptune stuff, like the Scott Pilgrim has a really good video game soundtrack. So I feel like there's a lot of variety there. I mean, that could mean a lot of different things. So to me, that's like a good I totally get video game like, I don't think you have to be a video game person. I think most people would hear that music. Depends on the type of game, but I'm assuming they wouldn't even assume it's from a video game.
They just think it's some lo-fi.
It's some beats. It's some tunes. It's whatever it is. So I'm fully in favor of that.
Now, I do think, going down into this, they said what kind of office? It was like a veterinarian's office?
Veterinary office, yeah.
So you have to think that there's
animals back there.
There's animals back there. There's people from the public coming in to potentially pick up animals, have conversations. And a lot of times, we've both been to the vet's offices and stuff before. It's not always the biggest office. It's like let's say a doctor's office, because it is a doctor's office. And, if one person's playing music, normally, unless it's like, very divided rooms, you can kind of hear that across the entire complex, let's say, the entire building. Workspace. So it is kind of unusual, and the first thing that pops in my head is that, Dustin is kind of taking all of the music control. Mm-hmm. And it's like, there's one DJ at the party, and he's controlling the vibe of the situation, where I feel like that can be annoying, minus the, the migraine and other things like that. So, I guess it probably boiled down to Dustin was the only one playing music in general, and maybe when he came in to work there, it was a silent office, and he was like, well, I'm going to play some music, and I'll just take control, and probably just like, okay, we'll deal with it. But I can see that, like, it went from lo-fi, non-intrusive music, most likely, to, well, I'm going to turn my metal on today. Like, I feel like, like, there's certain genres of music.
And Ted says he likes metal, too.
That just don't work for the office all the time.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. The fact that it's just him, I think it's a very precarious social situation because it's so easy for this to devolve into a fight or just resentment or passive-aggressive behavior.
Right.
Because if it's one person just comes in and just decides, well, I'm going to play some music. Well, now... No, if somebody else wants to play their music, now it's like, do they have to come in and say, hey, turn yours off? And now are we going to have to draft up like, all right, on Tuesday, you get to play music. On Wednesday, it's your music. Maybe if you have a small enough office, that could be kind of fun.
Well, which is why, like, a lot of places that I've worked at, too, will just play, like, the local radio station because it'll be like magic music or something like
the milk toast, just the most agreeable. None of us will be offended by this.
Or another way you can do this, like there's some restaurants that have digital jukeboxes. Let's say that you submit.
That's fun.
You submit songs to it, and
like
it'll just make a generalized playlist of what everyone's music is. Or you
can pull that off, that's cool.
Or have an Office Pandora list that you thumbs up, thumbs down, certain, have something like that where it's like a group thing rather than just Dustin playing his music. Because I can see, you come in, you have a headache, you're already at work, going to work is annoying, I assume. And, you're working with animals, so you have that kind of thing beating at your heartstrings and stuff like that. And then you throw a headache and just having a shit day on top of it. Sometimes you don't want to hear metal, because not just pointing out metal, because it could be anything. It could be like, I hate country music, so it could be like, oh, if I'm just in a shitty mood, I don't want to hear somebody's country music for the day.
Elliott.
Or somebody's like over the top music.
Fat Man Scoop.
That's my favorite. Love Fat Man Scoop and the Scoopettes. It's a great group.
Is he related to Fatboy Slim?
Two different families.
Okay.
One's East Coast, one's West.
They're like the Capulets and the Montagues.
Right. But what do you think about that? Like, what do you if you were in charge of playing music for an office, or you had a cubicle, would you be like, oh, I'm playing Weird Al today? Like, we wouldn't like...
Yeah, no, I would definitely... If this were me... That's the thing. So in this office setting, I feel like I would be too self-conscious. If I was going to play music, at most, it would have to be in a scenario where it's low enough that you couldn't really hear it unless you were like really right where I was.
Right.
Or I would probably put headphones in if they allowed that. That would be my number one instinct. If I was going to do it, if it was like, okay, maybe I'm comfortable enough with the people who work here, maybe they're my friends or it's an environment I feel safe in, and I was going to play music that more people could hear, yeah, I would definitely be like, I'm going to stick to stuff that I know the general public will probably like. I'm not going to be out here playing something weird or obscure.
Or some indie thing. Like, yeah.
Or like something that's like particularly, I'm not going to play Rage Against the Machine. I'm going to stick to like pop rock, alternative kind of hits.
But still stuff that you like.
Yeah, or just something that's in those along those. It doesn't have to be like mainstream, but yeah, I would try to. Metal probably would not make my
right.
my
and it's very
rotation.
rare. Like there's very few musical genres that I really that like make my skin crawl.
But that's metal and you said country are both like famously polarizing. Like they're not everyone's cup of tea.
And especially like I don't mind metal, but like
especially in an office.
Exactly.
Yeah, a medical office.
Like I've worked, so I do tech for a local community theater, and it's always my job to have the walk-in music for whatever show's coming in, and we try to change it up. And usually my go-to, because it's very simple, it's very like, there's no cursing, there's no whatever, is either some form of jazz, some form of show tunes, because we're the theater, or Motown. Because like Motown is very like, it's catchy, people know it across like multiple generations, and it's safe.
I got
chlamydia.
Oh, I was trying to do a Geeks on Trial themed.
So was I.
It's a tricky case. Okay, no. So
I do like that you can do that high and then go right back down to your deep talking voice. That's
the falsetto.
Mm.
La 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 la. Okay.
Not a real setto. It's a false setto.
Yeah, I had a real setto. Mm-hmm. Turns out it was North Korean made.
Oh,
I think my chair broke. I think my chair broke while we were talking.
You just instantly fall backwards.
Yeah, I agree with what you're putting down. I feel what you're laying out there, Papa. I vibe with it. I jam with it. I'm all about it. On key. And
it slaps, I know.
Yeah. And in this situation, again, I think the fact that it is a veterinary hospital is something worth considering, because it is a little bit, it sounds like everyone's cool with the music normally, but even normally, I don't know. It feels like now, a place people might want to come. I'm assuming you can't hear it. This is like the back offices. It's not like someone's in the room with Fluffy,
getting their animal put down and boop boop boop.
Yeah, they're hearing Enter Sandman coming over the radio waves.
Now, let me ask you this question: as
the life slowly leaks out of their dog's eyes, yes.
Oh, I'm sad now.
It's fine.
Now, if you were in a workplace and somebody was sitting next to you in your cubicle or your workstation or whatever, and they were playing music that you didn't like, music that you absolutely hated, music that was just downright pissing you off that day, would you go over and you hammer them, huh? For people who listen to the show only, you got to watch the show to see what Jonathan did in the video.
It's worth it. I promise.
It's worth it. It's 100% worth it. So, would you go and like, hey, can you do you mind turning that down a bit, or would you just like bring your headphones in and like have a speaker war with them, or
Yeah, well, I mean, I definitely wouldn't do that. Again, I'm assuming that Ted and Dustin know each other well enough. They've been working together long enough.
Right.
That if I were in this scenario, and I'm putting myself in Ted's shoes here. I've got a migraine. It's also, by the way, 7:30 in the morning at the time this is happening. That's a key part of this case.
Yeah.
I would definitely. Here's the thing. I hate confrontation, and I'm a coward.
Right.
So it depends on what I need to do, because I might just try to find a way can I do my work somewhere else?
Right.
Or could I? Because I don't think headphones in is a solution if you have a headache yourself already. I think that's just that's going to still add to the problem. So I do think there's a point where you probably do have to say to him, "Hey, like I don't think it's that offensive to say, hey, do you mind turning your volume down a little bit today? I just got a headache."
That's the thing. Like turning the volume down versus turning the music off,
or changing the genre. Even is kind of what he says.
Because I was just putting the mindset of the medical aspect. the music is usually fine for everyone. If it's a one person who's having a medical issue, at what point do you say, maybe I should have
Medical
stayed?
issue being a migraine.
A migraine, which could be, migraines can go from, I just have a headache today, to, oh Lord, it's the worst headache I've ever had in my entire life. At what point maybe do you, are you making the entire office change to where you should just maybe take a sick day?
Huh. Well,
you know what I'm saying?
Our capitalist culture.
Well, that's the issue in the
they
U.S.
will never let you do it. So,
they might not have a sick day. They might be a part-time employee.
Or they could let you do it, but
you're not getting paid, or you're not. It's frowned upon. It's
Yeah.
So, at what point, should one person have that power over everyone, or should you be nice and be like, okay, you have a headache today, we'll turn it down? It's
maybe
that weird.
No one man should have all that power.
It's true.
That song I know.
But who should because if your headache is that bad and you're working with animals, you're working with people coming in, you have Karens walking in the door, should you just go home for the day? And if the music, I don't know, it's a weird situation that me personally, I was kind of siding with one side, but it's should they go home for the day? Because it's they are going to be probably in not a great mood for the rest of the day to begin with, because they do have a headache, and you should go home if you're sick. I guess it's not sick, but having...
That's not an angle I had considered. I think it's interesting that you brought it up.
Mm-hmm.
I probably don't agree with it. But in a perfect society, if we lived in a perfect... Well, I don't know, then there wouldn't even... If we lived in let's just say a better society.
Right. Well, yeah.
Then...
Not even much, but a little bit.
Then sure, if you have a terrible migraine, yeah, probably they should go home. But I don't feel like it's... I would definitely be on your side if this was, they have a cold, something that's contagious. But if it's just your personal headache, I don't feel that it's and you, for whatever reason, you have to be at work.
Right.
I don't think that it's beyond acceptance for you to ask for a quieter work environment.
Because my thing is, so why should, this is far extreme, why should everyone else have to suffer because you happen to be the one person
But are they
sick?
Suffering?
Well, no, but you know what I'm saying, though? Why should we all have to change for one person? There's actually a great episode of, I think it's The Office, that
ladies?
No.
I only like to hear about... I don't watch the show, but I love Office ladies.
There's an episode where somebody's pregnant, they come in and they're like, hey, would you mind changing your...
No spoilers.
Your cologne because it's making so-and-so sick during the pregnancy? And they're like, absolutely not. Because, why should... one person is pregnant...
Cologne is different from playing music, though. I feel like that's a more personal choice than music you're playing on a speaker. I don't know. I just think it's not...
But you can see where I'm coming from, to where it'd be annoying that you have to...
I might see where you're coming from is if this was something that occurred every day.
Okay.
If this person came in every day, said, I always have a headache, only play this kind of music, but it sounds like every other instance of this, they have had no problem with the music, and they're just making if you are Dustin and you're sitting there playing metal and someone says, or whatever, it doesn't have to be metal, a music that you like, and they're like, hey, I have a headache, you mind changing to something else? Are you going to be offended by that? Are you really going to be
it depends on... I would probably compromise and be like, I'll just turn it down.
Sure.
I wouldn't...
Either way.
Because, so think about, sometimes with the music... So, yeah, I would compromise. I wouldn't be like, no, screw you. And then,
or, be mad, be grumpy about it the whole day. I feel like
I would probably be,
merited.
Upset for, a little bit. Because, once again, why should the entire office potentially...
But you're subjecting the entire office to the music, too. The argument goes right back around the other way.
That's the other thing. Yeah. And, Dustin could just put on headphones today.
Yeah.
So it's I wouldn't necessarily be upset, but I can see how it could be upsetting in that situation because, why do you think you're so special? That kind of situation.
I think you're putting way too... I feel like maybe part of this is you just trying to take the other side and play devil's advocate. I don't know. But I feel like you're putting too much I don't think it's fair to characterize it as that. What's his name? That Ted is some kind of like, oh, I'm the king of the office. What I say, I feel like this is a very mild.
Oh,
request.
it definitely because both sides, because like I could see like, oh, Ted is the one who's always in control of the music. That's shitty to begin with. And then there's, oh, can you just turn off your music today? Like, no, that's both ends of it. Well, me personally, like I would either just put on headphones. Actually, me personally, I would just have headphones on to begin with because I
just
don't
quit.
I don't like talking to people at work, so I would just have headphones on, or I just wouldn't play the music. Like I
wonder if that's a thing. Also, like maybe in an office, maybe
Safety.
they don't want you to wear headphones. Yeah, in case they want to get your attention for something.
Right.
I mean, okay, you threw a lot on there on the fire right there in the last lap. But I think I was pretty ready to give my verdict even before that.
I'll let you go first. You could sway me.
You added some wrinkles. I don't know that I don't even know. I feel like you align with me. I don't know. I'm curious. But for me, I feel pretty strongly that this is an incredibly reasonable request. I really don't. I think saying, hey, could you maybe, I have a headache, turn the music down, I'm being fired. No one, I didn't ask you to play it. You chose to play it in a place where other people can hear it. I think the burden is on that person who's putting things out into the environment to be aware of how it's affecting other people. They're the one who's consciously choosing to do that. So, and it's not worth making a big deal over. It's not worth anyone like getting upset. If it becomes a recurring thing, then the office, they got to figure out some kind of a plan for this. And I think maybe the concept is problematic from the beginning, as we've alluded to. But I don't think Ted's guilty. He's not guilty.
I do have to. I agree with you because it's like
I knew you would.
Yes, well, because it's like it's not an unreasonable thing, and technically, like if Dustin wanted to be a douchebag, he could be like, listen, they told us we can't play music. Like, we didn't get approval to play this music. So like if he really was like annoyed by it and Ted didn't turn down the music, fine. But I do think Ted at times might be maybe not the best person in the world because he is choosing the music.
He might be Hitler. I don't know.
Oh,
might be
Ted Hitler?
No, you mean Dustin's the one choosing the music. Oh, you're saying
Dustin. Whoever's choosing the music.
Dustin's playing the music, yeah.
So Dustin, could be that person who's like, oh, I'm playing my music, I'm controlling the music. So I kind of feel like there's a vibe from that where it's like, oh, it's a little bit controlling, so it can get a little hasty. But I don't think Ted is guilty at all of being like, hey, I feel like shit today. Can we just turn it off, turn it down? Here's some headphones from my car. So yeah, Ted's not guilty at all.
And again, not even. He's saying, could you play a genre of music you've already played that I already know you like? It's not like we have, completely different opinions on music, and I'm asking you to play something that you don't like.
Just switch a song. Just switch to this next thing.
Just for 7:30 in the goddamn morning.
Yeah, I don't know if I would. Especially working on animals too. Like, you don't need to be that amped up. Like maybe while you're driving, sure, but.
Yeah,
you don't need Disturbed playing in the background while you're giving a dog its meds or.
That could be problematic. Yeah. Now we need to come down with a punishment. We need to sentence Dustin as the guilty party, as has been decided in this case. What are we going to make Dustin do? I mean, we could strap him up and starve him Guantanamo style and make him listen to that metal song over and over and over and over again and sleep deprive him, waterboard him.
Have you been somewhere or read something I feel like
it's just this was a big thing in Guantanamo Bay. They tortured people with metal and other kinds of music to make them go crazy.
Yes,
it's an inhumane practice that we're not supposed to do it. We weren't supposed to do it then. We shouldn't be doing it now. Maybe we still are somewhere. Someone might be.
Probably Korea.
Maybe North Korea. But anyway, that's my pitch.
So I think that, Dustin, hey, we're going to glue earplugs in your head so you can't hear any music for a while.
Jesus. All right. One of the two will happen.
Right.
Hey, if you're watching or listening to this, check us out. on the other version if you want. I don't know. It's up to you. But you can tell us what you think of today's verdict. Do you side with Dustin or Ted? Are you a workplace music listener? Or maybe you have a hard stance one way or the other. You say no music. It should be silent in the workplace. Or you have some kind of a system worked out at your workplace. Let us know. Email us, geeksontrial@gmail.com. Same place you can go to submit your own geeky disputes. If you've got an issue with a coworker, a classmate, a family member, whatever it is that revolves around a geeky subculture, music, movies, video games, or other, submit that to us at the email address aforementioned, or there's a handy-dandy link in the episode show notes. You can click on that. It'll fill out a little form for you. It'll just tell us what the deal is. We'll settle it for you.
What's the deal with your case? That's what we want to know. What's the deal with your cases? And if you want to help support us, you can head on over to patreon.com/geeksontrial, and that's where you can get our new show, our other show, our more exciting show. It's very exciting over there. Geeks on Trial Sidebar, and plus we're going to have a brand new one-off podcast episode over there with me, myself, and with Jonathan, Will Keeler from Roll for Crit, and myself talking about the summer movie wager that's only over at patreon.com/geeksontrial. And where can people find you when you're not playing death metal for dogs?
Well,
that's my new movie, Death Metal for Dogs.
When I'm not doing that, you can find my other podcast, The Yerky Boys, wherein I go through and read all of the Animorphs books, the book series by Kay Applegate from the late 90s. Kids turn into animals, pretty exciting stuff. You can find all the other stuff I do along with that right at my website, jonathanestes.com. Easy and simple, one-stop shop for everything me. How about you, bitch?
Oh, that's just offensive.
Sorry, was that too harsh?
It made me...
Or bastard?
It made me
come
burp.
on.
That was for you.
Jesus.
There you go.
Oh, my
God.
you
can find me over at ivanhan.com, and I'm doing something fun, something exciting. I'm relaunching an old YouTube channel. You can find it over at youtube.com/@IvanRHan, and I'm making more vloggy-style videos and building Lego things and talking about photography and stuff like that. It's a hodgepodge of different things that I want to put out on the internet because I have some ideas that are up in my noggin that I just want to put out on the web, and that seems to be the fun place to do it. Some behind-the-scenes stuff, some stuff like that. So it's over at youtube.com/@IvanRHan, or just search IvanRHan on YouTube.
Don't you love YouTube for now making us have to say an @
Well, now it used to be exciting because we reached a point on my other, on the Snack Guy. I reached the point where I got to like X amount of subscribers, where I got my custom URL. Now there's no need to get 300 subscribers.
You're just an @
Now it's just an @
Shit sucks. Check it all out, everybody. Thanks for watching or listening. It's been a real doozy of a case. Stay tuned next week for when we will be discussing the war in Ukraine. And then after that, some anime or something.
Right.
Because that's the new format of our show. Hey, my name's Jonathan Estes.
And I'm Ivan Hahn. And this case, it's closed.